Okay, so good evening, guys. As you might know, my name is Aputa, and I, I just thought we should do a small crash course on online vegan activism, which is why we started doing this Discord event on the Vegan India Discord server. So this is some of the experience that I have gathered over the years doing different kinds of activism, online activism being one of them, and I'm just gonna share that. I'll be happy to take any questions or, you know, interact with anyone who has any other suggestions. So, but that would happen at the end of this. So this is going to be recorded, and this will be uploaded to the Vegan Veranda YouTube channel, hopefully, and it can be accessed there even after the event, so that anyone who missed the event can go and watch it, which is going to be probably more people than who are attending the movie. Anyway, just a joke. Uh, so yeah, so let's start with uh, what is online activism basically. Now this is going to be a very straightforward thing. Obviously, online activism is just using digital media, uh, internet, phones, laptops, etc., and you're using that to raise awareness about veganism, animal rights, etc. We also form communities and support groups. So this particular server, the Vegan India Discord server, I would actually consider this also as a kind of vegan activism online. And we basically deal with animal agriculture's propaganda. Basically, they want to create this perception among people that eating animal products or exploiting animals is okay, and we want to combat that. So that's basically what online vegan activism is, which I think should be pretty intuitively understood by now. So, who should do online activism, right? Now, this is not a hard and fast rule or anything like that. But basically, there are a few people who are well suited for online activism. One is introverts, because introverts generally they avoid going to outreaches, events, etc., which are other forms of vegan activism. So since you are not going there, it's better to use the time that you spend alone, and that time can be utilized for activism, right? So introverts are one group of people who can do online activism. The second group is disabled people who cannot go to offline outreaches, etc. So even those people can use digital platforms to do activism and to fight for animals. People with big following are the next bunch of people on the list. So if you are someone who already has a huge following, like there are people who already have like 1,000 2,000 followers, or maybe even more, because of some other thing, right? Like you're a model, or you have a lot of friends, stuff like that. So because of that, you already have a big following. So you can use that following, you can use that platform that you have, and you can do activism to your audience. I mean, of course you might lose some people, but I'm sure you'll also gain some, right? So those people are also well suited for online activism. People who are generally busy, who don't have time, can also do online activism, because online activism takes very less time to do if you time it properly. So if you're busy, you're working somewhere, or if you're going to college, school, something like that, all you have to do is you get like 1 or 2 minutes. You If you have a break between classes, you just pull your phone out, you type a comment, or you do anything like that, and you are doing activism in your free time basically. If you come home, you finish your homework and stuff, and you get a few minutes, you can do online activism even if you're busy. Apart from these people, literally anyone who cannot participate in other forms of vegan activism can do online activism. For any other reason, if you're unable to do other forms of activism, online activism is what you should be doing. And it would be good to mention that uh, we have the privilege to choose between whether we want to do activism or we don't want to do activism, but unfortunately the animals don't have that privilege, so we have to take that into consideration and do what we can for the animals, right? So what are some of the main goals of doing online activism? Basically this revolves around a few points. Firstly, you want to start a conversation with people. So that's the stuff that you do when you go and comment on someone's posts or you reply to someone's comment on some other post. That's what you're doing. You're starting a conversation that wouldn't have started. Like if there is someone randomly talking about, like, I don't know, hot dogs or something like that, you could just go and uh, talk about animal abuse there, and that would start a conversation that wouldn't have started otherwise. The other aims are like you could signal demand. So how are you going to do that? Basically, we will get to the different kinds of methods that we are going to use, but basically we show the industry, the plant-based capitalist kind of industry, as well as the non-vegan industry, that there is a shift in demand. There is a shift from animal-based products to plant-based products. We want to signal that by this can be done by various methods. Like you could show them that you want some product. You could say that we want vegan ice cream. You could ask them for vegan cheese. You could go and ask restaurants and stuff on their Swiggy or Zomato pages whether they have vegan options, etc. So that's how you signal demand, and you basically inform the industry that you want vegan products. So that's one of the goals. The other goal is obviously to educate people, which is the main focus of activism, which is to basically tell people and educate them that uh, it's not okay to exploit and harm animals in most cases, and we definitely shouldn't be doing for taste pleasure. And basically this would come as, you know, making videos, again commenting on people, etc., people's posts, etc. The other is obviously exposing animal ag. So when the PETA versus Amul battle happened, we had an event where we basically just went and scrolled all through Amul's Twitter, and we found that they were endorsing artificial insemination, etc. So that's how you can basically take screenshots of that and post it, and basically expose them, etc. Because they have created this perception that, oh, we are like very nice people, we care about farmers, we care about animals, etc. So you can expose them by doing such stuff. The other goal is to network with vegan activists. So when you go on Instagram, you will bump against people who are already commenting on some posts. Let's say some celebrity makes some stupid comment about animals or veganism, and you go to the comments and you see that someone is defending veganism or something like that. You can network with them, and basically you can form a band of raiders, right? And you could take like 10-15 people and you could raid posts, and you could do activism like that. uh, then you can also use online activism to expose anti-vegans. So anti-vegans are generally people who have a strong opposition to veganism, as opposed to non-vegans who are generally just unaware about veganism or something like that, right? So anti-vegans, we have some examples in our server as well, right? So we can expose them by basically debunking some of the claims, etc. And one of the most important goal of online activism, probably my favorite goal, is to normalize the vegan lifestyle. So this is what I'm focusing my time doing, right? So veganism has this kind of a perception that it is some kind of a foreign ideology, something that is not indigenous, something that is not convenient, something that is very restrictive. We have these stereotypes in society. We could simply eradicate those stereotypes, and we could showcase that we are also living an extremely good life, happy life, enriching life, and basically normalize vegan lifestyle among people. So that is one of the ways. These are basically some of the goals of online activism. Um, so, what are the popular forms of online activism, right? So people have different methods to do online activism. It depends on what interests you. So there are some people who like commenting on posts. They like to do it on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc. They'll just go and comment on people's posts. That is probably the most uh, widely used method of online activism. The other one is Tweetstorm. So if you follow this page called Vegan India Movement, they do a lot of tweet storms. Basically, if something happens, right, you just take that event and you start tweet storming. Basically, you just start hyping up a particular hashtag. And if there are, so Twitter has some weird algorithm where if there are multiple people tweeting the same hashtag in a small
There's
window
my
of
house
time.
can you?
Oh, is there any like, yeah. So if Twitter has some weird algorithm about how if many people are commenting within a short period of time about the same hashtag, then it will display that hashtag in the top ratings vagara. So when you see Twitter's hashtag, the trending list, if you have a successful tweet storm going on, you will see veganism or something related to that among the trending hashtags. So that is one of the things that people do. If you want to participate in tweet storms, you could uh, keep in touch with Vegan India Movement. So they do a lot of that stuff. The other thing, and this is kind of interesting, is you go to like any page where they ask you for reviews. So if you have like companies that are non-vegan, basically like Licious Foods or something like that, Amul, etc., they will have reviews or ratings somewhere. So it'll be like either on Godrej Nature Baskets app, or a Grofers app, or the Swiggy Zomato apps. They will ask you for reviews. So you basically give them a bad review, and you basically give them one star rating, etc. So what that will do is you get an opportunity to express your disappointment with them, and they will basically take note of that because they want to make money. The other thing which I also enjoy doing is making memes. So if you go to my Instagram, I have a bunch of highlights for for storing memes. So I used to make a lot of memes. I've made like 200, 300 memes, I think, over the last 5 years. So I've put all of that on Instagram. So you could just make memes and post them, or you could repost the memes that you've already made, because I mean people are not gonna remember 200 memes, right? So you could do that, and that's kind of very it's very accessible, because even non-vegans will be able to appreciate something like memes, because even they like memes, right? So the other thing which I'm also doing is running a YouTube channel. So this would take some time. It would take you time to set up a YouTube channel, run a YouTube channel, learn editing, learn recording, etc. So that stuff, it'll take some time, it'll take some training, but that's one thing that you could do. The other thing you could do is blogging or vlogging, uh, whichever medium you prefer. I have also briefly participated in Clubhouse. The debates happening on Clubhouse app. I have a friend here on the server called Dharmic Vegan, who does a lot of Clubhouse debates. And you might have also seen me doing Discord debates on on the same server, right? We have debated some karnas on the server. So that's one form of online activism. You could also make like educational content, recipe videos, or like exploratory videos, or you could make proper educational based videos like Aravind Animal Activist makes. So he makes videos about uh, why do we avoid dairy, why do we avoid honey, why do we avoid meat, that kind of stuff. So hardcore educational content. So you could make that, and the other thing you could do is participate in the creation of documentaries. So there have been many successful documentaries in the vegan sphere, like Cowspiracy, What the Health, Earthlings, Dominion. All these documentaries, they have been pretty successful. Provided that you have the resources, the time, and the expertise to do it, documentaries are one of the best ways to create an impact. So, what's the best time to do online activism? Well, technically, any time is a good time because there is no such restriction on what you could do in on an online activism. Because in offline activism, you have physical barriers. You have like you have to get from place A to place B to do your activism. There'll be cops who will stop you from doing outreach. There'll be you won't have the necessary resources. You won't have a tablet. You won't have that stuff. So there are such barriers to offline activism, but online activism there are no such barriers apart from like an internet outage or something like that, right? So any time is a good time, but specifically there are a few situations where it's best, like it's a very very good time to do online activism, and that is when some controversy erupts. So recently there was a controversy about some was it a footballer or a basketball player? I don't remember. Carl Zuma. I don't remember whether that was a footballer or a basketball player, but he basically harmed this cat, and people just went crazy, right? And that stuff happened. So that was an opening for veganism because you could point out the hypocrisy that people are showing when they are selectively targeting him for killing his sorry, not killing, harming his cat, but they themselves are killing like animals to eat, right? The other thing is online battle. So recently, again, I'll reference the PETA versus Amul debate, where basically uh, there was this online debate where between PETA and Amul, and there was like some harsh exchanges, and people want to opine on that. So that's one of the places where we could do online activism. The other thing is people make hypocritical posts all the time. Like if there is some event like Yulin Dog Meat Festival or something like that, people lose their shit over that, and people make posts about against it. They'll sign petitions, all that stuff. So whenever someone makes hypocritical posts like that, that is an opportunity for you to do online activism. The other obvious one is festivals. So if there's like Diwali, Holi, Eid, Thanksgiving, all these festivals, if there is like an aspect of animal abuse or exploitation or cruelty that is involved in one of these festivals, then we can call them out on that. So we always call out people for bursting crackers on Diwali. We call people out for sacrificing animals on Eid. We call people out for spraying colors on animals during Holi, etc. Right? So we also call people out for killing turkeys during Thanksgiving. So these are like really good times to uh, do online activism, basically. So what do we need for online activism? There are a few things. One thing, obviously, you'll need some devices. You'll either need a phone, a laptop, a PC, or all three. I mean, whichever is available to you, right? So that's kind of a no-brainer. And obviously, you'll also need an internet connection. Because if you're going to do online activism, you need to go online, right? So, and the other thing that is kind of important is you need to have social media accounts, and preferably these accounts should be separate from the accounts that you use for your personal use. So I have my @aputa account, right? I do activism using that, but it's not as much as I do activism using the Vegan Veranda account. So that is my main activism account because that's my YouTube channel, and that's where I do most of my activism from. There are a few reasons. So there are a few practical reasons. Firstly, if you have any, well, I mean, it's a stupid reason, but like if you're looking for jobs and stuff in the future, and you say something that your employer might not like, etc., uh, that would affect your chances of getting hired, etc. So you need to be mindful of that, and you need to draw a line as to what is acceptable limits of activism on your personal account, because obviously it shouldn't be the case that you just don't tell people that you are vegan or something like that. Don't hide it. Do some activism, but decide the limits based on your profession, your career, your field, etc. You need to take those things into consideration. and you wouldn't have that headache if you just use an alt account. So yeah, just use alt accounts, or make specific activism related accounts and use those. uh, the other thing, which is a kind of optional, is that you need to have a bunch of friends who are also vegans, to do activism along with you. This is because if you are an ambivert or an extrovert, this kind of make things a little more enticing. It makes things a little more fun, because you have that kind of a role playing kind of thing going on, where you just go and raid an on vegans post with your friends. So that's kind of fun, so you could do that, and it's a nice activity to do. The other thing, which is optional but highly recommended, is that you use a VPN. uh, and I would suggest that every online vegan activist should be mindful of internet privacy. You need to make sure that you use as many um, i- don't leave any loose ends, because you think this is not a vegan world, things can get messy. So just make sure that you are just make sure that you protect your privacy while you are at it, right? So just VPN is a good tool for that. There are obviously other things that you could take into consideration, but this is not necessarily an internet privacy class, so I'm not going to elaborate on that. So just take that as a cue. Just make sure that you educate yourself on internet privacy, and use the tools that are necessary to keep yourself safe, right? So that's very important. And the last thing you kind of need is basically a bit of patience, some confidence, and willpower, right? So you have that, you'll be good to go. Now that we know what we need for online activism, basically we would need to know how to be good at online activism, right? So there's no one size fits all approach for online activism. Basically you have to do a lot of trial and error, and you have to find out the kind of online activism that fits you and interests you, and you should do whatever that is, right? Just find the thing that you enjoy doing, and that you're good at, and do that, right? But basically there are a few pointers. You should be strategic, calm, and focused, right? So make sure that you don't waste time. If things are not going well, just don't keep engaging. You should know when to stop, etc. Don't get like hyped, because you will come across people who are literal psychopaths, and it can be tiring, because you see so many people justifying animal abuse. It kind of takes a toll on your mental health. So you need to be aware of your limits, and stay within those limits. Just and be focused on what you want to do, right? And when you're doing some kind of online activism, there'll be some objective that you're achieving. So if you're doing a tweet storm, uh, just stick to that. Make that your primary objective, and don't get distracted. Just be as uh, parsimonious as possible. And one of the other main important things you need to know to be a good online activist is that you need to have a sound understanding of veganism. You need to understand why. I mean, people have a practice kind of definition of veganism. So we just don't eat animal products. But there are people who are technically vegan. They don't eat any animal products. They don't harm animals. They don't exploit animals. But they still don't know the deeper aspects of veganism. So it needs a bit of understanding as to why we think this is wrong, and you need to explore that theoretical aspects of veganism. So I would suggest that you educate yourself on those aspects. Some of the sources I could give you is probably read books by Gary Francione. Just read his blog posts, read his books. Also check out Ask Yourself and Dr. Ravi on YouTube. They have really good debates on veganism. That would help you have a very solid understanding of veganism, from which you can basically leverage and use against non-vegans, basically. Because mostly what you see is that all the critiques of veganism that are present outside, right? they all of them stem from a basic misunderstanding of the values that a vegan has. And if you are clear on those values, you can debunk those arguments in a jiffy. So it's really important that we have an understanding of veganism, and that would basically make it very easy to handle any online debate or any kind of activism situation. The other thing is you need to engage constructively. So you need to be slightly perceptive. So when you're commenting and you're starting a conversation, you need to be perceptive about whether the person who is engaging with you, whether that person wants to engage constructively or not. And you should engage with them to a certain limit. But if they are crossing the limit of rationality, if they are just like biting crazy bullets, if they are not being honest, if they're being bad faith actors, then just don't keep on engaging with them. Just know where to draw the line, basically. And if you find yourself in a tough spot, you would ideally have someone who knows, who is more experienced in vegan activism than you are. Just humbly defer to them, and they will take care of it. Don't have like a block towards doing that. I also do it. I like there are people who are um like I mean there are times where I find myself in a tight spot, and I defer to other people um to take care of the situation. So it's not something that is denigrating in any way. So all of us do it, and it's better to focus on the goal rather than focusing on yourself, right? So when you're doing online activism, you should also focus mainly on the ethics part, because people get a false impression of veganism, that it is about the environment, or it is about health or something like that. So focusing on ethics is what makes it will basically help you get rid of that impression. So focus on ethics, but if someone has genuine doubts about the empirics, then you should have those empirics ready. If you don't have it, obviously there'll be someone else who has the empirics ready, so you could defer to them, and they will help you out. And most importantly, just practice, right? So keep on practicing. There's no there are some bad ways to do it. Like, obviously, if you just go out and start calling non-vegans as rapists from the get-go, uh, it's not the best thing to do. But obviously, if it gets to that point, don't back down. So all you need to do is practice and learn from what. So if you're in a tight spot, you ask someone else for help. Take that as a lesson. See what they are doing and learn from them, and that's how you grow as an online activist, right? So with that, we could probably come to an end. But there are some final thoughts and some advice that I can give you based on doing activism for 5 years, right? So firstly, don't think of online activism as time pass or something like that. Online activism is an extremely powerful tool if you know how to use it. So you have to be very like don't have a block towards online activism. Don't think that it is a frivolous exercise. Don't think of it like a uh, don't 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 feel that you aren't making a difference by commenting on posts, etc. You would be surprised how many people have gone vegan simply because someone commented on their post, and basically that led them to explore veganism, and they went vegan, right? So you never know what is people's last straw. So don't think of online activism as some kind of an inferior method of doing activism. It is on par with offline activism. It's just a different form of activism, right? So don't have that kind of a mentality. You should also remember that people are generally stupider online. They will say stupid stuff online, and they will be rude. They will be condescending. They will be bad faith. Expect that to happen, because this is happening behind screens. So there is no actual person standing in front of you, right? So that non-vegan doesn't take those social consequences into consideration, and they just you know they will bite crazy bullets. But if you do the same thing in public, they won't do that. But because they are hiding behind a screen, they are safe behind the wall of internet, they will say stupid stuff. So be careful and be mindful of that. uh, you know people will say stupid stuff. Don't let it affect you. Just remember that this is if it's not this guy, there's going to be someone else who will take your message seriously. So just focus on the goal. Don't take things to heart. I know it's hard, it's easier said than done, but I would suggest I mean, this is also going to be something that comes with practice. So the more you practice, the more you'll get desensitized to people saying stupid shit, right? And this is kind of important. So what you have to do is you have to be mindful of the time that you spend doing activism online, because you're going to be staring at screens at a long duration. You're going to just don't let it affect your life. Don't let it affect your social life. Don't let it affect your health. Don't let it affect your grades. Don't let it affect your relationship with people. Don't just be mindful of that. I'll allocate time that you think is reasonable to online activism and follow that. And that would make you more effective than someone who just spends all day doing activism, because you need rest. You need to be fresh when you're doing activism. So keep that into consideration. And practice healthy digital hygiene. So there are some things that you should do. Like, I didn't do it, and right now I'm suffering the consequences of that. So digital hygiene is basically you take care of your eyes, you take care of your health, etc. So I didn't do that. What happened is I am suffering from dry eyes right now, and I'm undergoing treatment, and basically bunch of vision problems and stuff. So don't let that happen. Just take care that you maintain the healthy digital hygiene. I think there is some 20-20-20 rule about looking away for 20 seconds at a distance of 20 feet every 20 minutes that you spend in front of a screen. So if you're looking at a screen for 20 minutes, take a break, look at something that is far away from you, and basically that's how you avoid some of the problems. And also make sure that your eyes are like, make sure you blink enough. uh, I don't remember the exact amount of times you need to blink in a minute, but make sure it's adequate, because when you're looking at a screen, you generally don't remember how much you're blinking. And if necessary, just get your eyes tested. If you have dry eyes, get tear supplements, and basically take care of your eyes and stuff, right? So don't let that affect your health. And take plenty of breaks. If you're doing long stretches of online activism, it will take a toll on your mental health. So take plenty of breaks, how much ever is necessary to keep you sane, right? And the other thing, which is also kind of optional but I would highly recommend, is that do a social media detox every few months or weeks. Just like once you're doing like online activism for like months at a stretch, at one point you will burn out. So to avoid that, what you just do is just go off social media for a week or so, and just come back with a fresh mindset, and then you'll be on your way again. So these are some of the final thoughts and some of the advice that I could give to people who want to get into online activism. So I guess that's it for the time being. If I think we can open the floor for any questions, if there are any. And yeah, I guess that's it for now.
अगर किसी को कोई क्वेश्चन पूछना है तो माइक ऑन करके पूछ लो, या फिर टेक्स्ट फॉर वॉइस जो चैनल है वहाँ पे पोस्ट कर दो. वैसे बचा कोई वॉइस चैनल में? हाँ, 4 लोग हैं.
I think Gurpreet is unmuted. Do you want to ask something?
नहीं, म्यूट कर लिया उसने.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a quick question.
Yeah, cool.
Hello,
Yeah, Gurpreet.
am I audible?
Yeah, you're
Yes.
audible.
Okay. So मैंने पूछना था कि like जो लोग like काफी spiritual होते हैं, so they just get so like obsessed and aggressive on this thing, like कि हम क्यों छोड़ें, हमारा तो like background ऐसा है, ये है वो है.
Mm-hmm.
So excuse me.
RK800 if you want to ask in the meantime.
So how do you get started with online activism? Because like I don't know any vegans. Uh, I haven't seen one. So how do you get started with online activism?
Yeah. So what you could do is you could participate. So we are doing a raid, right? We are going to do a raid. We will gather like 10, 15 links, and we will put it on the CW Activism and Raiding channel. So what you could do is tomorrow. I think we'll do it tomorrow. We'll be putting like links, and what you could do is get your like you'd have a social media account. Just use that and click on the link. We can just like 10 people of us, we could just go and raid the post, and we can comment. So you don't have to do anything overtly complex. All you have to do is just make a small message like please be compassionate to animals, please go vegan, please please consider veganism, just that kind of a comment, right? Or something. It depends on the post also. If there is something about dairy, so you just mention that dairy industry is very abusive towards cows and exploitative. We shouldn't be participating in it, so just consider veganism, look into veganism, something like that. Just make a small rough comment, uh, and just don't copy paste, slightly modify each of your comment, and that's how you get started basically. And there'll be like other people who will comment, and if there is someone who is defending something or talking against veganism, you can reply to them and basically get started. That's how you get started.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, if you want like a hands-on approach, we will do it in the raid tomorrow.
No, I have an exam, so I was preparing for it. After that, we can.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we could do a weekly raid whenever we do it. You could participate.
Okay.
मेरा एक और क्वेश्चन है.
गुरप्रीत, तुम्हारा जो पहला क्वेश्चन था वो कंप्लीट नहीं हुआ
कंप्लीट
था.
नहीं हुआ.
हाँ.
हाँ.
ओके.
अरे पूछ लो.
हाँ, कंप्लीट कर लेना. क्वेश्चन क्या बोल रहा था? स्पिरिचुअल लोग होते हैं, अग्रेसिव हो जाते हैं बहुत आगे.
सो मैं कह रहा था कि लाइक कई लोग बहुत एग्रेसिव हो जाते हैं कि तुमने ऐसा बोल कैसे दिया हमारे लाइक रिलीजन के बारे में कि हम नहीं छोड़ सकते चाहे कुछ भी हो जाए, तो उनका क्या हो सकता है?
उसके लिए मतलब कुछ एक एक दो अप्रोचेस है. फर्स्टली हम उनको सिर्फ ऐसे ही पूछ सकते हैं कि अगर किसी ह्यूमन के साथ ऐसे हो रहा होता तो क्या हम रिलीजन का यूज़ करते डिफेंड करने के लिए. लाइक अगर हम मतलब अगर हम किसी इंसान का गला काट रहे हैं तो हम क्या रिलीजन की आड़ में उसे जस्टिफाई कर सकते हैं. तो वो लोग फिर और गुस्सा हो जाएंगे. तो हम मतलब उससे उससे उनको ऐसा
नहीं
सोचने
नहीं
को
नहीं
ये हो
नहीं नहीं
जाता है.
नहीं, मैं उसकी बात तो करना है क्योंकि वो तो लाइक उनका तो कुछ हो ही नहीं सकता. मैं उनकी बात करना लाइक डेयरी वाले लोगों की, क्योंकि
राइट.
जो तो लाइक कोई लाइक चिकन खाना है फिर गला काटना तो लोग समझ जाते हैं, बट लाइक डेयरी को तो लाइक कोई ऐसा देखना भी नहीं चाहता इस वे में, तो उनका मैं कहना चाह रहा हूँ.
हाँ, तो उनका भी दो अप्रोच है. पहली बात तो ये है कि हम वही सेम लॉजिक अप्लाई करेंगे कि अगर किसी ह्यूमन फीमेल के साथ अगर हम ऐसे कर रहे होते तो क्या हम रिलीजन को यूज़ करके उसको जस्टिफाई कर सकते हैं. कि अगर समझो कोई रेफ्यूजी वुमन है बांग्लादेश से, उसको हम घर लेके आए और उसको हम लोग अपने अपने गराज में बांध के रखा है, उसको शेड बना के वहाँ पे बांध के रखा है. और किसी दूसरे मेल से उसको उसको हम, क्योंकि लोग बोलेंगे कि हम आर्टिफिशियली इंसेमिनेट नहीं करते, तो मतलब उनको पूछेंगे कि आर्टिफिशियली अगर इंसेमिनेट किया वुमेन को या फिर किसी दूसरे मेल को लेके आके उसको इंसेमिनेट करवाया, तो क्या हम उसको अप्रूव करेंगे. तो वो
नो
लोग
नो आई
जनरली
कैन,
बोलेंगे
नहीं
नहीं.
वो मैं हैंडल कर सकता हूँ.
हाँ.
लाइक जो लोग पूरी तरह से एंग्री ही हो जाते हैं कि आखिर लाइक वो एक फाइट तक चला जाता है, तो उस फाइट को रोकने के लिए फिर उसको अवॉइड करके उस बात को कंटिन्यू
हाँ,
रखने के लिए क्या किया जाए?
तो उसका दूसरा जो अप्रोच है, पहला तो यही सेम अप्रोच है जो ह्यूमन राइट्स बेस्ड अप्रोच है. बेसिकली यू जो भी ह्यूमन के साथ कंपैरिजन है वो पहला अप्रोच था. दूसरा अप्रोच है कि like that's the approach my friend Dharmik takes. So यहाँ पे I mean if you go to like Discord अपना server में there is a guy called SSJ2 vegan. So he and me have like discussed a lot of uh, philosophical aspects of how we could explain that stuff. So अगर हम बेसिकली उनकी फिलोसफी को यूज़ करके उनको काउंटर कर सकते हो तो दैट विल बी इवन बेटर. सो आई मीन बट अगर कोई ज़्यादा ही हॉस्टाइल हो रहा है तो इट्स बेटर टू जस्ट डिसएंगेज, मतलब छोड़ दो. Does that answer your question? अब
हेलो.
हाँ आ रहा है आवाज.
ओके, थैंक यू. लाइक
दूसरा
जो आपने
कुछ
अभी जो अभी आपने वीडियो का कहा, तो उसका लिंक लाइक दोबारा पोस्ट कर सकते हो सर्वर में?
कौन सा वीडियो?
जो भी आपने कहा था कि उसकी वीडियो देख लेना.
हाँ वो तो मैं पोस्ट कर दूंगा. हाँ हाँ कोई बात नहीं.
ओके, थैंक यू.
हाँ कोई दूसरा भी
एंड
क्वेश्चन था ना?
दूसरा था कि लाइक लोगों का डिनायल, क्योंकि उसका तो लाइक आज तक मुझे समझ नहीं आया कि कर क्या सकते हैं.
डिनाइल को तो हम सिर्फ एक ही रास्ते से हटा सकते हैं, विच इज़ टू एक्चुअली शो देम द फैक्ट्स, राइट? तो अगर कोई डिनाई कर रहा है तो उनको हम सिर्फ फुटेज वगैरह दिखा सकते हैं और उनको ये कर सकते हैं. वो लोग बोलेंगे कि हमारे देश में नहीं होता है, बट इफ़ यू जस्ट गो टू लाइक एनिमल सेव मूवमेंट के जो इंडिया के वर्जन है, मुंबई एनिमल सेव वगैरह, तो उनके भी इंस्टाग्राम पेजेस वगैरह में इंडिया स्पेसिफिक ग्राफिक फुटेज वगैरह है. So you could show that to them or just ask them to go to their nearest chicken shop, nearest mutton shop और उनको देखने बोलो कि क्या होता है. So yeah, denial can only be dealt with by showing them the facts.
ओके, फाइन.
Yeah.
You told that you have a YouTube channel.
Yeah. So that's the vegan veranda on YouTube.
ओके.
और पोस्टर में नीचे लिखा है उसका स्पेलिंग. Yashmit, does Gurpreet have access to CW channel? Because that's where I put all the posters, right?
नहीं, सेल्फ रोल से एक्चुअली उसने डिस्कॉर्ड नया यूज करना शुरू किया, उसे अभी सेल्फ रोल वगैरह का पता नहीं होगा.
अच्छा तो फिर वो पोस्टर वगैरह मैं किसी और चैनल में भी डाल दूँ?
हाँ डाल दो जिसमें मर्जी डाल दो, कोई टेंशन नहीं है.
एक मिनट में देखता हूँ.
लाइक यूजुअली पीपल से दैट लाइक कि आपने इंडस्ट्री का बता दिया कि जैसे वूल तो वहां से लेना गलत है, चलो मान लिया. बट अगर कोई लाइक नॉर्मल फार्मर है तो क्या उससे लेना ठीक होएगा? तो उसका रिस्पॉन्स क्या होना चाहिए?
हाँ तो उसका भी हम यही बोलेंगे कि ह्यूमन कॉन्टेक्स्ट में अगर हम लोग ने सेम चीज़ किया, मतलब एकदम अच्छे से किसी वुमेन को ट्रीट किया लेकिन उसको हम बांध के रख रहे गैराज में, और उसको हम दूसरे किसी मेल से हम लोग इंसेमिनेट करवा रहे हैं और उसके बच्चे को मतलब हम लोग दूध दे रहे हैं लेकिन उसका दूध फिर जो बाकी दूध है वो हम लोग चुरा लेंगे. तो ऐसा अगर हमने किसी फीमेल के साथ किया तो क्या हम मानेंगे कि वो सही है? तो वो लोग बोलेंगे नहीं. तो उनको हम बस पूछेंगे कि डिफरेंस क्या है बताओ.
एंड जो लोग कहते हैं कि ये वाले एग तो लाइक इनफर्टाइल है, तो उनको खाने में क्या गलत है?
हाँ तो बेसिकली उनमें तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, बट बेसिकली जो हेन है, जो हेन्स है जिनको जो अंडे देती है बेसिकली, उनको छोटे छोटे केजेस में रखा जाता है, उनको एक्सप्लॉइट किया जाता है बेसिकली, उनके उनके बॉडी का एक्सप्लॉइट करके एग्स का एग्स को उनका प्रोडक्शन किया जाता है, राइट? इसके लिए हम लोग एग्स नहीं खाते.
So basically my whole problem revolves around like कि जो नॉर्मल पीपल हैं जिन्होंने बस लाइक ऐसे रखी हुई हैं, तो उनसे ले लेना चाहिए, क्योंकि वो तो इंडस्ट्री में काम नहीं करते और वो तो लाइक कहते हैं कि इतना सब तो वो टेल डॉकिंग वगैरह नहीं करते, तो उसका क्या रिस्पॉन्स होना चाहिए, लाइक किसी भी एनिमल और किसी
हाँ,
फॉर्म की
तो
चीज के लिए?
यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम इसका नहीं है कि हम लोग उनके साथ बर्ताव कैसा कर रहे हैं, मतलब उनको अच्छे से ट्रीट कर रहे हैं या बुरे से ट्रीट कर रहे हैं, ये क्वेश्चन नहीं है। क्वेश्चन ये है कि हम उनके बॉडी को अपने प्लेजर के लिए हम लोग यूज़ कर रहे हैं, जो गलत है, जो अगर किसी इंसान के साथ हम करेंगे तो हमको अच्छा नहीं लगेगा। तो
इज
उनके
दैट ऑल?
बॉडी, या आई मीन द प्रॉब्लम इज वी आर एक्सप्लॉइटिंग देम, we are exploiting their bodies, and we wouldn't like it if we were exploiting a human.
इसमें
And some
वेस्टर्न
people say
एजुकेशन
that
प्रोसेस
veganism
के
is
लिए
a Western agenda. And what about that?
Yeah, so there is a quote in Rigveda, I think, right? So there is a quote in Rigveda that I mean I'll find you the exact quote and I'll send it to you. But basically it's मतलब मैं paraphrase कर रहा हूँ कि good ideas can come from any direction. मतलब किसी भी वेस्ट से आए, ईस्ट से आए, नॉर्थ से आए, साउथ से आए, कहाँ से भी एक अगर आइडिया आता है तो आइडिया को हम लोग को देखना चाहिए, ना कि वो आइडिया कहाँ से आया। तो वो कहाँ से भी है, वो नॉर्थ पोल से आए, वो मार्स मार्स से आए, हम लोग को उससे फ़र्क नहीं पड़ना चाहिए। हमको ये फ़र्क पड़ना चाहिए कि आइडिया क्या है और आइडिया की इम्प्लीकेशंस क्या है और आइडिया की वैलिडिटी क्या है, बस हमें उस पर देखना चाहिए। बस इतना कहना कि ये तो वेस्टर्न एजेंडा है, मतलब ये सब तो मतलब बेकार की बात है।
Good.
Yeah, Mr. Strawman, there is one argument which I cannot find an answer.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Uh, I have put the link in vegan VC. Like
Okay.
it is saying that supplements are not safe.
I have to look into the paper, but
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a study saying that supplements are not safe.
yeah. So you need to show that. Wait, I'll read the study and get back to you. But yeah, I am not sure if this study actually demonstrates that on average consumption of like consumptions based on the prescribed amounts, whether that is unsafe or
Yeah, what he was saying is that like by eating animals, like we are not directly taking supplements. We are taking it indirectly. So even like grass-fed cows are not supplemented, I think, in India.
I'm not sure about whether grass-fed cows are or aren't supplemented, but
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm finding for this answer for a long time. Like, I have epilepsy, and people like personally attack me on this thing that you are vegan and you are eating like taking medicine. And first stop that, then we will talk. So how do I respond this?
yeah, so the burden of proof is on them because they have to show you that by consuming the medicine that you're taking, you are actually increasing the demand for animal products. That's not the case because these animals.
No,
Uh,
no, 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 no.
hmm.
Like they say that this is tested on animals, and the like outer covering is made of fish oil.
Yeah. So I mean, for that are you sure of that? Because I'm not sure if your medication is like that.
Like almost every medicine is all tested on animals, right?
It is
So
tested on
I'm not.
animals. Yeah, it's tested on animals, but the thing is, they have to show you that taking that will increase the testing, because if that medicine is already tested and there is no more testing happening for that medicine, which is what happens in case of medicines, right? So they are tested in the initial phases, and once it enters the market at some point there is no testing anymore, no more testing. So they are called generic drugs. So if you take a paracetamol, yeah, it was tested on animals 10, 30 years ago or something like that, whenever paracetamol was conceived. But there is no more testing of animals for paracetamol. So consuming paracetamol doesn't increase the demand for it doesn't lead to the suffering of animals, because there is no animal being tested because you are taking a paracetamol, right? So yeah, I don't see any problem with taking paracetamol if it's not actually increasing the demand for animal products or increasing animal suffering. In case of the gelatin, in case of medicines that are they are capsules that are covered in gelatin, etc., I would suggest you need to find alternatives for those. And if you can't find alternatives for those, if it is a life-threatening situation, I mean, you could probably just go ahead and take it. But yeah, I would try my best to find an alternative, which is kind of available. I mean, I don't think it's. You just have to tell them that you are allergic to fish oil or something like that, or gelatin, etc. And they always have options for that.
लाइक सम पीपल से दैट कि जो आपका आटा वगैरह दालें वगैरह आती हैं
Hmm.
तो उनके लिए भी लाइक बुल को लाइक खेती करवानी पड़ती है लाइक जो नॉर्मल लाइक जो पुअर फार्मर्स है जो ट्रैक्टर लाइक नहीं परचेज कर सकते तो उसमें भी एनिमल एक्सप्लॉयटेशन है तो आप वो भी खाना बंद कर दो तो
Uh,
लोग लाइक ये भी लेके आते हैं आगे आर्ग्यूमेंट
हाँ, तो इसके लिए उनको क्या करना पड़ेगा? They will have to give you evidence that stopping the consumption of rice is going to stop the consumption of uh, stopping the consumption of rice is going to stop the exploitation of animals. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, right? If you stop eating rice, it's not going to stop. It's not going to lead to a fall in the exploitation of bulls in the industry. That will happen when we start taking animal rights seriously and we make litigation against it. We make laws against it. That's when it will happen. But when it comes to animal products specifically, right? When you're talking about dairy, when you're talking about meat, when if you reduce your if you eliminate your consumption of animal products, then it is going to lead to a shift in demand, and that's how you affect the basically that's how you save animals. But you don't consume them, and you shift the demand for plant in the direction of plant foods, and uh, that's how you save animals basically.
ओके एंड जस्ट आस्किंग व्हाट डू आई कॉल यू
You can call me Arvind or Aputa.
ओके थैंक्स
Cool. So it was nice talking to you guys. Yeah, we'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm
थैंक्स
desperate
लॉट
for the dancer.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Bye bye.
Okay.